I'm the #1 go-to guy in the world of celebrities. How do you make that happen? Decided to get very skilled at my work, and anywhere from working from little kids in orphanages to people in prisons to Robert Downey Jr. So I don't see anybody as different. I just see them as human beings that need to turn a setback to a comeback. What I teach is that we all have what I call life interruptions. You've had them, I've had them. It could be when somebody's young and they get ill, or their parents get divorced, or in this case, my father passed. So it's a life interruption. And then when most people have that life interruption or setback, they don't know how to get out of it. And so that's one thing that I think created a calling in me, that I wanted to help more people that had life interruptions find a way up and out. The whole idea of the book of the miracle mentality is don't live in the mundane, don't stay in the messy, don't stay in the madness, but make room for the miracles. And I think that so many of us, that we get so caught up in the mundane, and then the mundane escalates to the messy, and then it escalates to the madness, which is the chaotic, that man, where's the magical? You know, there's times in life where you just want to shout, where life is at a high volume, and could be the first time somebody falls in love, you just want to shout. It could be you're successful in your job, you just want to shout. But there are times where you're disappointed and things don't work, and then you're disappointed again and disappointed again. And it feels like, watch this play on words, life has knocked the shout out of you. And that shout goes down to a whisper. And if you notice, a lot of people that you grew up with, they don't have a shout anymore. Their shout became a whisper. It's like, hey, how's it going? Well, step by step. How's your marriage going? Okay. How's your job? Okay. And they find themselves in the land of okay, but I believe you can get your shout back. That idea of listening, but also the fact that I learned through my research and study how to turn a setback into a comeback. Like, I'll give you like 3 points.
Please.
So when somebody has a setback, what happens to them, most times they go very singular. They go really inward. So if they go through a divorce, they go very inward, or they lost their job, they go inward. Anxiety or depression, pandemic, they go very inward. But when you have a setback, the first thing you got to do is you got to become awake. You got to become conscious, and you got to say, oh my gosh, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and we may need to be locked down for a month. A month turned into another month, and then to over a year, right? So #1, become awake. Secondly, you have to take inventory. Take realistic inventory, like in the pandemic. Where am I financially? Where am I with my job? Where am I with my mental health? How is my family doing? How's my country doing? How's this world doing? So #1, you become awake. Secondly, you take inventory. But here's a powerful thing. You have to partner with the right people. I feel that a lot of people, when they have a setback, they don't have the right people to partner with. So that's what I always wanted to become, and that's what I became. I wanted to be the person that somebody could link hands with and say, come on, Tim Storey, you may not know everything, but you know how to get people from a setback to a comeback. I'm the partner, power person. I'm inspired by the little things in life. I have this saying that miracles are either coming or going at all times. My last book is called The Miracle Mentality. And to have a miracle mentality is to look for the extraordinary, look for the unusual, look for the uncommon. And the other day, I was really busy on a lot of Zoom calls. And I went in my backyard, and as I was sitting there drinking hot tea, I noticed that 3 butterflies came by my right shoulder at the same time. True story. They turned around and came back the same way. That inspires me. So I'm inspired by butterflies. I'm inspired by you today and the outreach you guys have in changing lives. I'm inspired by this beautiful location in Estonia. I'm inspired by great conversations with Quincy Jones. I'm high on life. I really enjoy life. What a privilege to live. First of all, I've learned that not everyone's urgent is my urgent, I got that from Stephen Covey. Because in the early days of life coaching, I used to be on the phone like non-stop, like even late at night, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. I don't do that anymore. Because unless it's a major crisis, someone's been hospitalized or somebody had a relapse in the area of addiction, I make people make appointments, and the biggest stars in the world, they gotta go through my assistance. And I think it's better that way, because I have to protect my own peace. I have to protect my own state of mind, because I like to be in just a very sound mind. I like to be steady in unsteady times. So even though they may have my number, doesn't mean they're urgent is my urgent. I have a therapist. So I think that like to live the life that I get to live is so over my head. Like, how did this happen? Okay. So like sometimes I'm like driving down the street, and I won't name drop on this one, and like someone will call me this like a huge gigantic movie star that we would look up to forever, and it blows me away still. So I think that, you know, for many years I'm living this life that is different, better, more magical. And I like going to a therapist and just sitting there and making sure I stay on the yellow brick road, making sure that my motives are right, my mindset is right. Because in my kind of job, they offer you a lot of money to do different things, like you know, mostly coming from just a lower income family to starting to do real well even in my early 20s. I just wanted to be around practical mindsets that would keep me on the yellow brick road, and so far so good. To get your shout back, the first thing you got to do is get tired of being tired. If you're bloated, get tired of being bloated. If you're poor, get tired of being poor. If you're lonely, get tired of being lonely. And you really got to get tired of being tired. And that's how I was being in a lower income family. I didn't like that feeling of like I wanted a certain tennis shoe, but I got the almost version. I wanted the certain type of Levi's, but I got Plevi's, right? So everything was almost. I was tired of being tired, tired of being regular, tired of being this. And so I made a choice that, man, I'm gonna do 3 things. Here we go. Number 1, we learn from education. Number 2, that's why I'm glad that you're doing this, we learn from conversation. Number 3, we learn from observation. So I began to educate myself, I began to have better conversations, and I began to watch people around me that got their shout back. And I emulated and started following what they did.
Tired of being tired.
Tired of being tired.